Meanwhile, Donald Trump continued to tear up the civilized rules of engagement between politicians and press. They say that we can't criticize their dishonest coverage because of the First Amendment. You know, they always bring up the First Amendment. But the Donald upheld a collegiate code when he called for politicians to set aside their differences for the sake of the nation during his first address to Congress. Democrats and Republicans should get together and unite for the good of our country. As did parliamentarians
Bunch of
and
tossers.
journalists for charity on Shrove Tuesday.
Bunch of tossers, look.
This is a new coalition.
Yeah, yeah. Here we go.
Clashes are reggae DJ David Rodigan's bread and butter. So are codes of conduct essential to keeping competition fun rather than frightening. And David Rodigan joins us now. Welcome to the program, David. Now, you're a reggae DJ. You specialize in sound clash. Michael obviously has no idea what I'm talking about here. But does it have a code of conduct?
Oh, it most definitely does. And it stretches back over 60 years, Jamaican's Love Contest. And back in the late 50s and then rolling into the 60s, these enormous mobile discotheques would travel around the island entertaining local communities. And they were powered and driven by acetates that were exclusive recordings. What we would call a dub, a reference disc, and then they started importing records from America, and then they started making their own records. And the essence of this culture is that ultimately it boils down to contest. Who can draw the biggest crowd? The quality of the sound system, and teams of sound system players, at least half a dozen in a team, they've all got a job to do. And in later years, that then led to actual clashing. And the concept was, and thousands would turn up for these clashes, and they have them in New York, they have them in Jamaica, they have them in Japan. It's a worldwide phenomenon. Now, it's an underground scene, but it's incredibly popular. To watch Italian sound system clashing against German sound system speaking in patois is something to behold. They're that obsessed with the culture.
And they follow a kind of general code of conduct?
Oh, absolutely.
There are sort of rules of the game.
And the rules are quite clear. You have to have a spokesperson for your sound system. He or she is termed a mic man, a mic person, and they have to refer to the track that's just been played. So you'll find yourself keeping it very simple. If you go to the grand finale, which is the 1-for-1, there's an elimination process in 6 sound systems or 8 sound systems. You're left with 2. This will last 4 or 5 hours. You're left with 2, and it's a playoff. They have to play the best of 10, and every recording has to be unique, and it has to have their name in it. So all this has been customized. Now, if your competitor has just played a song, for example, by Johnny Osborne, your speech has to connect to that track, the rhythm track, or something that would lead you and your team to playing a better Johnny Osborne or a counteraction to that Johnny Osborne. So the speech is all important, and the speech can sometimes get a bigger forward, which is a Jamaican expression for response from the crowd, than the actual record. The speaker is very, very important.
You see, listening to you then, if this has rules of conduct, which on the face of it would seem less like a clash without rules, it seems to me that everything has to have rules of conduct then in some way to work.
Well, of course, and that's the way it works best. And it's when people break those rules of conduct and punch below the belt and make unnecessary personal comments because they're lost for words and they don't know what to say in connection to the music. Because the essence, what draws people to these clashes is how exclusive the music selection is and the way in which it's played.
Is the arbiter of this the crowd?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Thousands and thousands of die-hard fans will stand there in Brooklyn from 9 at night till 4 and 5 the following
Or
morning.
chuck people off sheds and house tops and fences.
It can cause boos. Sometimes the race card is used, personal comments are made, and the crowd will react accordingly.
You love this, don't you?
No, it's a phenomenon.
Isn't it this week trip to see one?
Yes.
I'd love to see.
Well, it is a phenomenon, and I.
These people get terrorised. Oh, I want to go home now.
I work for the BBC. I have a show on Sunday evenings. And years ago, I started working with a fellow colleague in Jamaica, and we did a radio clash on the equivalent of JVC.
Where can we see you next?
You can see me in a field somewhere this summer.
Listen, I didn't want to bring
I
them
mean-
into my A, because they didn't really know what you were talking about, and B, they were learning something, and that's always useful.
Well, absolutely. And
Great, thank you for explaining all that. It's great
thank
to
you
see
so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Now, that's your
What's
lot
that
for
got to do with
tonight, Bobs.
politics, though?
But not for Discrew.
Okay.
We're heading for Lulu's